Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Townsville Stadium, where we have the men's game between the Mackay Meteors and your Townsville Heat. Townsville currently sit third on the ladder, I believe, to Mackay's second. So this is a really important game. And next week, Townsville will return the favor on the road to Mackay. I'm joined again by Carl Ward. We just finished the women's game. It was an exciting finish. Townsville came away with the W. Carl, any thoughts as we tick over into the last minute before this game starts?
Looking forward to this clash. It's going to be a pretty fast-paced game anyway, up-tempo. I think Townsville want to play that way anyway. I think they definitely have the depth over Mackay. But Mackay got some serious imports and the ever-reliable Chris Cedar at the point. So while you've got those guys in there, they're always going to be in the fight. And a couple of veteran locals that have been around the league for a while, filling in those role player positions. So yeah, look, it's going to be a tight tussle, but I think Townsville might have the edge.
Both teams who've turned over a fair bit of their roster. However, for mine, I see Townsville, a lot more familiar faces. I'm really excited to see these Mackay imports. They look like they've got a fair bit of size to them. They look athletic. We just saw a little bit of a warm-up. They sort of kept it under wraps, but it'd be interesting to see with Townsville this year, starting with a much smaller lineup, as Jamel looks like he'll be starting as the 4-man, Keegan at the 3, John O'Mines at the 2, Josh Wiltshire, an early MVP candidate, at the 1, and Marty Rees at the 5. How they're going to be able to contain some of these much bigger athletes.
Yeah, I think the key is definitely going to be probably the Wiltshire-Cedar matchup. Wiltshire was dynamite last week. He was back to his brilliant best. He shot the ball well, and he just kept attacking the Gold Coast defence, and they had no answer for him. He just brings everyone else into the game, stretches the other team defensively. So that'll be a key matchup. But yeah, the imports from Mackay look pretty imposing sort of players. So yeah, we'll see what happens here. I'm predicting there might be a bit of aggro in this game.
Shout out to everyone across the state and the country tuning in. John Guarna, one of my favorite people in Brisbane. Greg Vanderjet out of Geelong, one of the great GMs that Townsville basketball has ever seen. It should be an exciting one here tonight. Wiltshire for 3. Doesn't feel it early on, and Mackay comes up with it.
And looks like Lucas Bliscarves has been given the job on Wiltshire, so he's going to have his work cut out. That's a tough matchup.
And Anderson on Toff is a great matchup as well.
Yeah, well, Jamel's got the length to worry Toff. As we see, the big fella go upstairs and get the tip in, and that gets Mackay's scoring underway.
Mackay, the much bigger team here, as we've mentioned early on.
John O'Mines can't make it. Matty Rees on the boards. Kick out to Anderson for the 3. And he knocks it down. Jamal Anderson off to a great start. His three-point shooting has really improved, I think, from
absolutely
previous seasons.
So when we saw him a few seasons ago, that was not a strength, a slasher, a great defender. But he's come back here to Townsville with a much improved three-point shot. So as a 6'6" athlete, defend multiple positions and a three-point shooter now. Great addition to Townsville.
Wiltshire isolated with Washington. Townsville will be liking that matchup. Matty Rees from deep misses the long 2. Mackay clean up. Derek Newton has the ball out top for Mackay. Looks for his fellow import, Washington. He goes strong.
Bullies his way to the basket, kicks it out to Rasmussen. He buries a triple.
And the wily old veteran, Rasmussen's been going round and round for years.
You need those. He's the Townsville equivalent of Matthew Rees, you know.
Anderson gets a wide open look, and he makes it 2 from deep.
What an exciting start between these two teams, burying triples. The women's game was a bit slower to get going.
And Cedar right back at Jamal Anderson. He acknowledges the foul, and Cedar will go to the line for the bonus.
Strong move from Cedar there, played through the contact.
Really strong core on Chris Cedar. He's undersized, but his ability to bump bodies and then make the play is as good as anyone.
Definitely has 2 seasons. Definitely enjoys his off season, but come in season, he does a great job of getting himself in shape, and it looks like he's in pretty good shape coming in here into Townsville. And what round are we in now? 9?
Round 10, I think.
10.
Wiltshire lets it go from deep. It rattles in. Townsville from beyond the arc early. That's 3 triples.
And they'll need to be. They have a definite size disadvantage. Washington buries the free throw line jumper there. 9-8 in Townsville's favor.
And a little bit like last week, it's the defense hasn't quite cranked up yet. We're getting a lot of uncontested shots, and there's another one from Mines.
Oh, and he gets fouled.
Cedar a little late to react, and he's having a few words.
Kylie Vavoden, but after the fact, it won't matter. She's not going to pull it back. John Mines will head to the line shooting 3.
And he's going back for a little bit more as Toff.
I suppose you have that luxury when you're the captain. Provided you say it in the right way, that you could possibly have a word all night long.
Jono Mines makes the first, ties the game up at 10 apiece.
And the second. John Mines has had a great start for Townsville. And I think people said early on, oh, he's our 4th option, he's our 5th option. Certainly when Josh Wiltshire wasn't here and Jamel wasn't here, he had some really great games. That Cairns game was
his opening few games were phenomenal. He shot the ball beautifully. Then I think he went, as the other boys came in, he sort of didn't have the ball in his hand as much, and it might have affected him a little bit. But,
Toff loses the handle there, but kicks it out to Washington. He gets the double team to Rasmussen, kicks it out to Toff. Keegan runs him off the 3-point line. Oh, Washington elevates, and Marty meets him at the rim, picks up the foul.
Great ball movement from Mackay. They were in, out, and eventually Cedar, wily veteran, made the right play.
Familiar face missing tonight. Referee Scott pulled a hamstring or a quad or something. God, that guy's old.
It's hard being an athlete.
So he'll be watching from the sidelines or maybe at home in crutches, the hospital, something like that.
Probably blowing the whistle in his lounge room right now.
Washington, a sizable individual. Broad shoulders, strong back, big arms. It's going to be a handful for Townsville tonight. Middle ball screen, Wiltshire probing inside. Draws the double. Mines not quite ready. The pass not quite on the money. Oh.
Great pass, Cedar. Just dropped it there. Knew exactly what Cedar was going to lay on the table, and he just picked it up with a nice finish. Mackay out to a 2-point lead.
Matthew Rees tries to kick it through to Wiltshire, but couldn't get through hands. Tipped around, Mackay comes up with it.
Couple of sloppy turnovers from Townsville back to back.
Oh, as Washington just backs his way to the basket.
He just bullied Matty Rees then.
Matty Rees wants to file a police report after that one.
They definitely have the size, but this is the matchup they'd like. Oh, Mines.
Oh,
tough
awkward.
Bucket. Tough bucket.
Going away to the left, comes back right, kisses it off the rim. Oh, to Washington inside from Chris Cedar. He looks to operate. Off the right hand is good.
Washington is a monster underneath the bucket.
And this is not last year's 2018 Townsville Heat where Justin Baker could rotate onto him.
And Harry Froling's coming across.
Marty is the answer at the center position and the biggest Townsville individual. So if they're going to go one-on-one, it's going to have to be Matthew's job. Otherwise, it's going to be multiple people's job to get it out of there.
Tudor with a nice jumper to get his scoring underway. Cedar goes to work on Jamel Anderson.
And clearly the idea early on from Mackay is exploit Townsville inside. If they're going to play all these shooters who want to play a finesse game, then let's go inside and test their mettle.
Anderson backs up his opening triples with an air ball. Right now, Mackay just physically bullying Townsville on the offensive end. Even Cedar against the bigger Anderson is prepared to take him into the
transition.
He runs into a brick wall. Coach Anderson not happy.
Not familiar with this referee. But it was the right call.
Yep.
Mines was out of control.
Yep.
Chris Cedar looks like he had position.
Mines was forcing the issue. He had position. And Mines knows about it because he ran into a brick wall.
And probably a timely substitution for him to sort of gather his thoughts.
Yep.
As he was knocked to the floor on that possession. Keegan Tudhope doing a great job on Newton, forcing him into the elbow jumper, but he converts. So
some beautiful offensive footwork there from Newton. Tudhope is a good defender, and he rocked him, created space, made the jumper, and now we have a foul down the other end on Washington.
Washington not happy with that call. Remonstrated for a little bit, was given the hand by the referee and calmed himself immediately.
And I would think that he can intimidate a referee, Washington.
Well, I'm glad there's a lot of distance between me and him if I ever said anything bad.
It's all good, Bryce. I love your game. Wilshire with the bigger Rasmussen on him. Anderson second guesses himself and then lets it fly.
Oh,
and
Jamel.
he has gone 3-3, air ball 3. So I'm still trying to work out whether he's a pure shooter.
Well, at 75%, he's a pure shooter so far.
But
Chris Cedar just buries him inside. And a much smaller Chris Cedar.
Anderson winning the battle because he's going up by threes, but Toff is scoring equally as many buckets. And unusually, he's scoring him 2 feet from the hole, which against the longer Anderson.
Yeah. The physics don't make sense yet, but they're working so far.
Misses with a little left-hand jump hook. And Mackay have got this thing out to 5 as Washington lets go a triple, proving he can do it both in the paint and from outside the arc, and Coach Anderson's seen enough.
What a package of talent. If he can do that on a consistent basis, as well as dominate inside, he's going to give Townsville all kinds of, well, not just Townsville, the league all kinds of trouble. I don't follow the men's as much as I do the women's, but speaking to people in the know, I'm told that this fella is one of the early contenders for MVP alongside Josh Wiltshire types.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen Mackay play. I watched a game on the Facebook coverage when they played the Gold Coast on the road, but he was solid then, and yeah, just looking at their depth, obviously these imports are carrying a fair bit of the load, and you can see why now. But I mean, Newton's been solid as well, but
he's playing 37 minutes a game. He's averaging 22 and 16.
That's beast mode.
That's beast mode activated the whole time. And I suppose, you know, the strength of the Townsville side is they do have a lot of depth, as we see Jackson Todd look to check in, and PC checked in off the bench, and Ethan Betts as well. I would assume that we're going to see a steady dose of Bryce Washington.
And I mean, this is a tough matchup for Jackson Todd here. He's going up against a superior body and an athlete. He's just going to have to concentrate on keeping him off the glass and doing a good job. And Verl Williams Jr.'s checked in for Mackay too to add a little bit of speed.
Off the bounce, Peter Crawford gets all the way to the rim but can't convert. Blitz abs to Newton. Turns it over. And they give it to Betts on the run, and Chris Cedar tries to block it off the backboard, but doesn't quite have the elevation that he used to.
And Betts' speed will cause some trouble here for the Mackay guards. Williams, there's not much of him, but he's a good athlete, and he's going to have way too much speed for PC. That's not a good matchup, and already there's a bit of banter between the two. Not sure whether it's harmless banter or whether it's...
Well, Verl seemed to be smiling coming to that one, so PC's a funny dude.
I'm not sure if people know how to take him. They're probably just thinking angry old man. Blixards, he's not a high scorer. He's more a facilitator.
Well, there's an early look of the adjustment as three bodies converge on the post touch from Washington, and Townsville comes up with it.
It was the sea of blue around Washington.
Oh,
great
nice
pass.
slip.
Peter Crawford.
I thought he was known as a shooter.
That was just a bad shot from Pete.
A great find on the bounce pass to Jackson Todd.
Oh, that's the weakness. PC
Lost
Great
a step defensively.
pass.
Oh, just bully.
Good kick out. Active hands from Betts. Gets a tap on that. 6 on the shot clock. Mackay going to have to come up with something pretty quickly here.
Well, converging on Washington on the flight of the ball seems to be something that might be able to slow him down a little bit, but they're going to have to trust that Mackay can't knock down those outside shots as Washington takes a... Oh, Jackson comes up with it. I was saying Washington took the short corner jumper there. Here's Wilch probing, left hand, over Newton, no good.
Yeah. Just those bigger bodies are going to worry Townsville inside there.
Well, Newton looks like he's 6'8", 6'9" himself.
Him and Washington look similar sizes. Just, and there's Newton fires from 3. Looked good. It was straight.
Yep, straight on line.
Wiltshire with the rebound in amongst the tall timber, gives to Betts. He plays at pace, and PC wide open in the corner for 3. Little short.
2 Townsville bodies then converged on the offensive rebound, but tried to be a bit fancy. They both tried to dip it in.
Cedar for 3 on the kick out from Williams. That's nothing but air. You won't see that too often. Wiltshire, tempo's just lifted a little here, going up and down, and PC gets a wide open 3 on the trail. Can't get it to go.
So 3 good-looking shots in a row, all on line, short or long for both teams. I'm not sure that I would want to leave Peter Crawford open. As Jamel comes up with a big block from behind on Washington. They run Toff off the three-point line, blitz out in the corner.
Short.
Washington.
Offensive rebound. Newton gets Wiltshire in the air, pulls up for mid-range jumper, can't get it to go.
All of a sudden, someone's put some Glad wrap over the top of these rims.
It's got ugly all of a sudden.
2 more possessions here in the first quarter. Townsville trail 23-27.
PC, he can't
leave him open.
He's not going to miss 3 in a row wide open.
And that was possibly the most contested one as Verl Williams tried to get there. But
Mackay with the last possession, 12 seconds on the clock. Cedar going to isolate. No on-ball screen. Gets away with a little bit of a push-up. Williams attacks.
Oh, I'm surprised they rewarded that considering what they allowed to go the play before. Different referee, but... Oh, they're going to give him a flat warning.
So we've got a flop warning issued on Josh Wiltshire. He's agreeing with the referee, so...
Josh Wiltshire does a great job of anticipating that, coming across and jumping and playing across that seam and straightening his shoulders to the sideline. Perhaps oversold it on that occasion.
Hang on, we're getting the floor wipers. So this opening quarter, similar to last week, it's relatively high scoring. It was 31-30 last week, I think, at quarter time. So offense is outdoing defense at this stage.
Well, that's 2 great men's teams then that have come through Townsville. I missed the men's game. I had a prior commitment. But I heard that was a barn burner.
Me and Robes had a lot of fun last week. It was one for the basketball purists. It was high scoring. It was up and down. It was 3-point shooting. Defense was overrated. All those things.
Well, that brings the first quarter to an end as Townsville trail 26-29. Certainly early on, my impressions is Bryce Washington is an absolute monster. He's got 9 points. Chris Cedar, 3 of 6. He's got 7. For Townsville, a spread of scores.
Mel Anderson with those 3 triples.
Yep, he's got 9. Yep, John O'Mines got 5. Off the bench, PC's 3 has been helpful. Betsy's got 1. He's got 2 points, as does Jackson Todd. So, sort of that depth that we spoke about from Townsville. I assume they'll need a range of contributors if they want to stay with this Mackay team. Whereas Bryce Washington and Derek Newton look like to be the main guys with Chris Cedar. For Mackay.
Yeah, it's just going to be a matter of whether those Mackay guys can keep that output for the full 40 minutes, because they do play an energetic type game. They're bashing, crashing bodies. So whether they're not going to get much of a rest, Washington and Newton, I wouldn't think. So if they can maintain the level, they'll keep themselves in it. And Towns will be looking for a bit of output from their bench there. Rees and Tudo were relatively quiet on an offensive point of view in the first quarter. So,
well, and as you say that, Verl Williams is the only player that came off the bench for Mackay. So if they're going to keep a tight 6-man rotation, then as the game wears on, I would assume they might slow down, whereas Townsville will continue to roll bodies through.
Yeah, I think Wicks will play a little bit possibly off the bench from Mackay. And then I think Sean Baker might even be the next one in line, but he hasn't been playing many minutes. He's a young up-and-comer, a good size. But, I mean, the problem for him is that they've got size in their imports. So,
yeah, I assume they're paying them the big bucks to play the big minutes. So,
yeah. Yep. But foul trouble, any of those things will give an opportunity for a young guy, so they've got to be ready to go.
Well, speaking of young fellas, looks like Hayden Wicks here is checked in for Mackay. So
yeah, he's been playing some valuable minutes. Townsville starting in a 2-3 zone. No, they're gone, man.
No, I think there's 1-3-1 or something.
Yeah. It's a different look anyway. Wicks gets a wide open baseline jumper, can't make it. Good looking shot.
Yeah, wide open, but fading away.
Now Mackay, they look like, they're going to, they're staying man.
Will Williams with a tough matchup on Josh Wiltshire, but Josh takes advantage of that in one-on-one situation, no help whatsoever.
Once Will starts going left, you're in trouble.
And Verl was backpedaling there, and it's one of the few guys that Josh has a size advantage over that I've seen in 3 years. So
Cedar with a nice move against the younger Ethan Betts, just couldn't get it to drop, and Betts loves to play at speed, pushes the ball, tests the defense.
He's a big guard too, you know, like he's a young fella, but he's what, 6'2", 6'3"?
Yeah, and he's got a big square body on him, and he can take the contact. That's what I like about him. And Keegan.
Not sure who Keegan saw inside. That was a bit of a 3-on-3 pass.
Williams. He probably overcooked it. Didn't need to pass it. He had a layup. Turnover, and Wilshire comes back. Rees into an on-ball. They switch on that. Rees gets it down low.
No pass seems to be really connecting. Wilshire wide open for 3, though. Betsy comes up with the offensive rebound.
Young Wicks. This will be a good test for him.
Marty doing a good job of just keeping out of Wiltshire's way, just giving him maximum space.
There we go. Bullies young Williams, and that's going to be a problem for Mackay. He's so slight, Williams. There's nothing of him.
Yeah, speedy, quick. I assume he can shoot the ball, but if Townsville's guards are going to continue to back him down, he's going to need some help from somebody.
He will be wishing that young Figgy gets a run here, because that's his matchup. These bigger bodies are Wiltshire and Betts.
Brad Rasmussen for 3, no good.
It was in and out.
Tide is turned here. Townsville with the advantage. Jason Borg, I think, has just come to the bench asking for a timeout, and they're going to call on the sideline, but he didn't pick up his dribble after the foul was called.
And it's noticeable as soon as Newton and that are out of the game, the changes for Mackay. They definitely drop off with Williams and Wicks out there. They just don't have the size and the ability against the bigger Townsville guards.
And it's a big ask. Jason Borg, who has been an administrator, has been doing a great service to the Mackay basketball community.
He was a player back in my day.
Right, okay.
So had many a battle against Borgie.
Right.
Back in the early 90s.
Before the age of the three-point line.
Yeah.
Black and white.
Black and white TV. There was none of this coverage. Thank God.
But no, so this year, first time at the helm in several years for Mackay, and a program that demands big expectations of both their women's and their men's programs. So I assume there's lots of pressure on him to perform. And so far this year, he's been doing a great job.
Yeah, no, he's because their roster, I don't believe, is as strong as it has been in past years. So he hasn't been given a superstar-studded team. He's got some very good imports, and obviously Cedar's a mainstay there. But he's done a good job so far. They're right in the mix. They're sitting second on the ladder. And they'll be eyeing off a top 4 finish and getting a home court final. Well,
and Mackay, who started with the early triple road header, which I always find difficult when you're trying to integrate your group. Yep. It could make or break your season. That's 2 years in a row they've done it. And I believe they swept the Southern Comp to do that. So good job to Mackay. There's Wiltshire. Rasmussen went under on the and hits the wire up top. He's missed 2 threes in a row now. Whether they continue to dare him to do that, whether that's helpful or not. A shout out to my good friend Mark Roble. He's off to Italy. He would normally be doing this call here tonight. He'll be with the under 23s at the World Junior Games for the women's team for Australia. So good luck to Mark.
Cedar with the triple puts Mackay back to a 2-point advantage, 32-30. Great pass from Rees to his bouncers running mate in Tudo. He gets the easy layup, ties things up at 32 apiece.
And we spoke about Justin Baker not being back this year and Harry Froling, and one of the guys that's really stepped up into it.
Justin Baker in the crowd over there.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, if you look straight across
in the
corporate
right.
area, he's...
Stay away from my wife, JB.
He was in Brisbane for a wedding, and he's travelled up just to catch this Townsville game, see how his old teammates are running.
It's good to see him here tonight, and you know, he was a great part of the culture that we had here. But the point that I was making is that Keegan Chudhope has had to step up and play some big minutes in his absence.
So we've got a foul on Matty Rees off the ball. A 3-point shot from John O'Mines is going to count, and it'll be a Mackay.
Great
ball.
job from Hayden Wicks there to sell that foul. There've been some argy-bargy down this end.
And we've got a substitution for Townsville as Josh Wilshire checks out Matty White, a Burdekin boy.
Wow. So, but not only that, look at the size. Who's at center right now then for Townsville? They're going to put Jamel at center.
Anderson, yep.
And
he's got Rasmussen of Washington.
Interesting decision here from Coach Rod Anderson. But if he wants to sit Anderson at any point, there really is no traditional 5-man to step in, other than Jackson Todd, I suppose. Who's probably more of an energy 4-man, but
yeah, this is big for Townsville. They need to keep Washington. That's Wicks.
Bit of a zone.
Oh, great corner. And here's the difference. Washington, bang, stuffs it home. And that is what you get when you play your 3-man at the 5 spot.
I suppose Rod would be disappointed to give up an open 3, would expect to give up the O board, but if you can't give up everything. So as Ethan Betts spins and Jamel collects the offensive rebound and converts.
He gets it back for Townsville on the other end, so.
I assume it'd be a bit of a matchup zone, but it's all kinds of trouble so far as Jamel is just playing at a position here at that 5-man spot. Verl penetrates, kicks out. They're going to call him for a travel.
He looks dangerous, Williams. He really probes the seams. He gets in there. He's creating a bit of chaos, but so far he really hasn't scored himself or dished out the assist, but he looks dangerous.
I believe when he went to Southwest Metro, he had an unreal fourth quarter that brought Mackay back into it.
Yeah, he was massive. That was his best game for the season. So he's obviously got it in him.
And that's his old club, I believe, so a bit of extra motivation. Oh, here's Betts. Kisses it off high off the glass. He gets fouled by Rasmussen. Always a lot of energy and enthusiasm, I should say, in these Mackay Townsville games. And yet, I see Rod Anderson at his most calm and collected that I think I've seen him ever.
Maybe it's building.
Maybe it's building.
Maybe he's saving it up for a second half tie. But yeah, he has been very quiet. Look, let's be honest, we're only a quarter and a half into the game. It's close.
Yep.
Let's see what's happening down the stretch in the fourth.
I want to give him a lot of credit, though. Like he's previously been sort of very flamboyant and very vocal, and this year he's done a great job of keeping his emotions in check, and his team seems to be responding really well to that.
Well, I think he's probably had someone have a chat to him, and that I would suggest over thing. He's been coaching some junior teams. He may have got himself into a little bit of strife with that, so he may have just toned it down a little bit.
As Verl Williams buries the triple for Mackay. Oh, foul call here in transition. Not sure who that foul call was against, but that'll slow Townsville down. They'll take it out of bounds. They trail by 1 here, 5 minutes left in the second quarter.
Mackay have rested Newton for a lot longer than I thought he would have been. He's been out of the game for a bit. Mines gets a look from 3, and he buries it.
Buries it.
And Townsville back in front with a 2-point lead.
He has been so good for them offensively. He's a slight, slender guy. He's clearly a two-man, playing at a position at times given the lack of size for Townsville, but geez, he can shoot the ball.
Yeah, no, he's a good addition. He's, yeah, he's done the right things. Matthew White picks up his first foul, and that's what he's known for, man. He's a bit of a niggler, so if you expect if there's any confrontation, he'll be right in the thick of it.
Play to his strengths. Great move from Williams. He draws the foul, but they're going to say it's a baseline move as he tried to facilitate.
Substitution for Townsville. Peter Crawford checks back in. He gives Jamel, and now we go super small. Hang on. Here's Jackson Todd. Rod had a bit of a look there and thought, yeah, what have I done?
We're gonna make a slight adjustment.
All of a sudden,
here.
Keegan Tudhope was your 5-man.
Well, now people are playing a little bit more familiar positions. Todd at the 5. Keegan is an undersized 4 with Betsy Mines and PC playing the perimeter spots.
Rasmussen corner.
Wow. Well done. He was heavily contested on the closeout from Tudhope. Just buried that jumper. All tied up at 41 apiece.
BC.
The BQ employees going at it against each other. Chris Blitzavs and Peter Crawford. More if Warwick can give him any feedback before this game.
Rasmussen thought he was hot, found out he's not. Betts on the break. Little floater up and in, and Betts causing some problems, getting into the seams. Too easy. Townsville lead at 43-41.
Rod's done a good job of being able to get away with having this smaller lineup and not really being punished for it. Newton must be wondering what he did wrong to not be able to get any burn.
And Washington getting no love from the referee. I thought I heard a slap through my headphones from 40 feet.
I think that was Newton assaulting Borgie.
Crawford looking. Todd puts it on the floor. Back out to Crawford. Step back 3.
Step back 3.
Can't get it to go. That's a tough shot.
That's a really tough shot.
I think they can.
Blitzavs is long enough to be able to bother PC out of that.
Washington, uncontested. Tudhope playing for the back to the basket move, and he just stepped back, shoots a beautiful little 15-foot jumper.
PC threatening to step up into that shot.
Oh, he traveled.
Oh, big block from Washington. And Rees, he'll have had his 2-minute break. He'll check back in. Newton and Chris Cito check back in for Mackay. Jackson Todd will stay in, so this is as big as Townsville could get. I suppose maybe with Jamel at the 3 spot.
PC.
Off the right hand dribble. Not sure about that defensive rotation there. Uncontested all the way to the rim. Oh, great pass from Chris Cedar. Verl Williams, though, unable to convert at the rim.
He makes the easy look difficult. That's what, I mean, he had a layup then, and he's trying to pump fake and make it.
He had a wide open 3, he had a wide open corner jumper. He decided to come across the front of the rim, which allowed Matthew Rees to get there. The plodding Matthew Rees now in his older years.
And that's a foul on Newton. That's only his first, so there's no foul trouble there. Yeah.
Jason Borg incredulous at the foul call there.
Wilshire rattles the first free throw home. Give Townsville a 1-point advantage. Rod engaging on the sideline with
Verl.
They're still having a little laugh. All good banner.
They're both still smiling, although Verl looks a little bit more serious than when he came out of the exchange with PC early on. Chris Pro's inside. Verl with a lot of shake and bake, kicks it out to Blitzabs. The form looked good, the shot was not though. Oh, inside to Matthew Reed. Just padding his stats with the offensive rebound, but I'm sure he would have preferred the conversion there. Wicks will check back in. Oh, Blitzabs will check out. Long leash for Verl Williams here. I would have thought, he's given up, a few good shots, hit as a spark plug. Maybe, as he's fresher coming off the bench, he might provide a bigger benefit to Mackay. But
I think that says something about their depth. They got a lot of bigs on the bench.
Rees goes 1 of 2.
Townsville little half-court trap here.
Just a bit of a delay. Oh, Washington with a rib move.
Great extra pass.
Kick extra. Verl Williams can't convert.
Good box out from Jackson Todd there. Kept Washington off the glass.
Yeah. What a big ask that is, because he's given up about 40 kilo on him. Oh, Wilcher step back 3 over Wicks. No good.
Washington makes that ball look like a golf ball when he grabs it.
I was just feeling bad for his poor knees as he came back down to the ground and all that compression happened.
Little untidy here from Mackay.
Newton ducks into the elbow. Just attracts so much attention. 3-on-3, Wilcher. Speaking of 3-on-3, PC, a master of the game. Jackson Todd can't convert that jumper.
Williams. Oh, wow. That is super quick.
That's his game. Yeah.
Just keep it simple.
Spark plug, explode. Just let the other guys get back. This will be the last possession here of the first half. A really close first half as Townsville will only lead by 2 points. PC, long triple. Karam's off out of bounds. Actually, no, we'll see an extra possession here from Mackay. He's got 3 seconds to Newton for 3. Oh,
bang.
A bit of a dagger.
Good finish to the half for Mackay as they lead at 50-48 at halftime.
They hadn't seen the lead for a while, and Townsville seemed to be in control.
Yeah, it's probably too quick on the shot from PC there in the possession. He just left too much time on the clock, and as happens, Newton punishes him.
Oh, it's been a great first half. Townsville now trail 48-50. It's a battle between 2 and 3. The winner of this will do themselves a lot of favors at the end of the year in terms of deciding home final. So both teams will head into the locker room looking to find answers and adjustments. We'll take about a 10-minute break. We may decide to interview the coaches depending on their availability, and then we'll come back from Townsville Stadium. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Townsville Stadium. We have 1 minute left here in the halftime in the game between your Townsville Heat and the Mackay Meteors. The score is 50-48 in favor of Mackay. It was a competitive first half. Both teams sort of played to their strengths. Obviously, Washington for Mackay is an absolute monster. He's 8 of 10. He's got 19 points, 5 rebounds. Ably assisted by Chris Cedar, 10 points, 6 assists for Townsville. More even spread of scores, Mines and Anderson on 11 apiece, and then Betsy off the bench with 7. But you and I were talking about if Townsville is going to stay in this game, they're going to have to be able to rely on making some outside shots because they don't have that inside presence.
Yeah, no, they definitely don't have the offensive firepower in that 4-5 spot. So they're going to have to shoot the ball well. They had a couple of guys down. PC was 2 of 9, Wilsh 2 of 7. So they were down a little bit from outside. Jono Mines and Jamel Anderson were both strong, shooting 75, 80% respectively in the first half. So they probably want to get a few more shots up. And for Mackay, I just felt like they're scoring their buckets a lot easier. They're getting a high percentage. I think they're above 50% from the field. And they just have an inside presence where they can get a jail. And then, I mean, if that dries up, they do have the outside firepower with Cedar. Newton's shot looks pretty solid, even though he hasn't lit it up yet. So, yeah, Townsville are going to have to find some points.
And they've gone back to this starting lineup for both teams. Blitz Avs matched up against Wiltshire, which really played to Townsville's advantage in the first half. And Washington gets switched on them there, but Townsville can't convert inside. I'd assume Townsville will be quite happy to shoot threes over their big man inside to increase their chances of getting second chance points.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's obvious as Blitzavs makes a nice 2-point jumper. Yeah, Townsville are going to, their strength is from the outside, so they're going to continue to fire them up as we see Anderson do exactly that, and that's off. But yeah, they'll need to scrap, get second chance points. Mines throws up a 3 and misses.
Well, that's 2 3-point shots now that they've managed to suck Washington into contesting and have generated 2 offensive rebounds and converted on 50% of them. So based on those types of odds, it certainly helps Townsville out to draw that big man out to contest those shots.
And Wilshire gets Townsville scoring underway with a nice foul line jumper. Washington isolated against Rees.
He'll try to force him baseline, but he gets the jump on Marty, sends the double team, and
Newton, mid-range jumper, it's good.
Now his game seems more perimeter orientated, mid-range game. Even though he's a tall guy, he's just able to sort of stop and pop and elevate over. It's a double wide pin down. They find Jamel, long 2 himself.
And that's not really his forte. Mackay would be happy with that, making him shoot off the dribble, contested. As Cedar explores against Anderson, he likes this matchup against Anderson. That's the 3rd time that he's taken him inside the paint and worked him over.
And a taller, longer Jamel Anderson.
And some great defense from Cedar against Wilshire, and he gets pinged for the reach in.
And that doesn't elicit any response out of Coach Rod Anderson, who's cool, calm, and collected at the moment.
That's just a frustration foul from Wilshire. Cedar with some great defense, one-on-one.
So Chris Cedar just sent the call about the play that he wanted to the bench, and Jason Borg repeated that.
Blitzavs finds nothing but air. He'd like to have that one back.
Stealing a page from Peter Crawford's first half performance. We get the switch there, but kick it out. Live and die by the 3 Townsville are at the moment, and it's not necessarily working out in their favor. Trail by 6.
No patience, quick offense too. They're shooting inside the first.
And here's
seconds.
Newton against Mines. Fadeaway is good. Oh, and Newton has a word to the Townsville bench. Love a little bit of banner.
And that's an 8-point lead now for Mackay, so this is the biggest of the game for them.
Crowd completely taken out of it.
Anderson turns it down. Tudhope on the 3. Backs back. He lets it fly from 3. It's no good, and Townsville just continually happy to settle for the 3-point shot. And it's feeding right into Mackay as Toff pulls up for a quick hitter.
Oh, he just wanted to put the game away there and then. Townsville's just going to be able to probe a little bit further inside to be able to collapse to open up some space for their shooters. Peter Crawford steps up off the bench.
And that's the 3rd foul on Lucas Blitzarbs. So that's a little concerning for Townsville. He does a defensive role. He's got the job on Wilshire. Wilshire really short on that 3.
Can't find the rhythm yet. A little back screen to open up Chris Cedar. He gets the mismatch against Toff, and he could have been called for the N1 there. Marty was shifting his hips to bump him off it.
And that's where his physical size and his core strength, like I mentioned earlier, just...
And that's exactly what Townsville needed to reply. They needed a paint touch, something at the rim.
Just a different look. I mean, they've just continually settled for 5 or 6 possessions with a 3-point shot made them play no defense whatsoever.
And I assume that pattern continues. You know, PC checks in for Jamel. PC known as a spot-up shooter, a step-back shooter, insert something shooter.
Yeah.
So someone else, you know, John O'Mines did a great job. Now he'll head to the line shooting too.
Yeah, I don't think the game style is going to change with the substitution of Peter Crawford. Most people wait till they're open to shoot it. PC catches it and shoots it.
And then decides afterwards whether that was a good shot or not.
Townsville into a little half-court trap just to slow Mackay up, but Verl Williams is a hard man to contain, I would imagine.
He is speedy little dude. He finds Rasmussen at the free throw line, kick back out.
He's got Crawford isolated, those old creaking legs.
Draws Toff. Quadruple team, kick out to Chris Cedar.
That's veteran, and he gives a little 3-point salute. And this is starting to get a little out of control for Townsville.
It's a double-digit lead here for Mackay. Now they're up by 11. And Matthew Rees, they just completely sag off of him.
PC does nothing to change.
Playing to his strengths. Verl Williams here gets the rebound, and I assume...
Oh, great pass.
Oh, they don't call a foul. They're going to say Matthew Rees was in position, and no protest from the Mackay side.
Just...
There we go. That's more of what Townsville needs. It doesn't come off that time. But they need to mix that up. Oh, another rhythm 3 from Chris Cedar. That one in and out. Really testing.
That could have been a fatal dagger.
Jason Borg just happy to let the Mackay boys play to whatever they want. I don't see any calls. I don't see any really feedback coming off. Trusting his veteran.
Townsville just continue to pepper away. There's absolutely no ball movement whatsoever. It's they're playing into Mackay's hands.
Yep.
Mackay would be loving this. Townsville getting 1 shot on most possessions.
Yep.
And Mackay can come down.
That's right, set up, just use their size advantage, and they can take that type of shot.
Yep.
Doesn't come off for them that time. Shout out across the country, one of my favorite dudes, Brad Can, tuning in from Tasmania as Josh Wiltshire comes off the left hand there. That's a move that I think Brad Can showed him.
And we've got to give a shout out to Brad, who's got the weight of Tasmania on his shoulders as he launches a campaign with his under-16 boys teams at the upcoming national championships in Darwin. The heat will be on Brad.
Well, there are 2 teams that I'm pulling for, Queensland North and whoever Brad Can is coaching.
He's a great man, Brad. He's done a lot for Queensland North basketball in his time in the North.
And for Townsville basketball.
And Townsville basketball as well, yeah. So keep up the good work, Brad, and good luck in Darwin.
Oh, they feed it inside of Matthew Rees, and Peter Crawford recognizing the much better opportunity there.
Are you sure that wasn't a shot? It was definitely a pass.
For his percentages, it works out better for him that way.
Oh, Newton just shook Peter Crawford out of his boots.
Oh, the Mackay boys love that one. Newton having a few words to PC as they come back up the floor. Oh, Mines draws the contact. From Burl Williams, he'll head to line shooting 2.
And there's a little bit of banter between Newton and PC.
And PC would be used to this at the highest of levels.
Well, pretty sure PC, what's he mentioning something about the Olympics there? Is that what I'm reading from his lips? I'm an Olympian? Oh, now Verl's having something to say, and PC loving the banner.
Oh, and he would fire up based on, it wouldn't change his game. It wouldn't affect his confidence.
No.
It won't change the way that he plays.
He's been around the block too many times, PC. He's not going to get worried about a bit of banner.
Did he not suit up against one of the dream teams?
Well,
let's say he did. Yeah. So he's taking it from Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. Whether this is true or not, I don't know. But
that sounds like a good story.
People with bigger reputations than Verl Williams, I'm sure. Anyhow, we're at a timeout here. 3:29 left in the third quarter. Mackay with a big lead, 11 points, 67-56 over Townsville. That shooting dry spell for Townsville has really punished them early on, but I suppose live by the 3, die by the 3 at the moment.
Yeah, well, it's they're really not getting any offensive punch out of Rees and Tudor in that 4-5 spot. So, you know, I guess the other alternative is to keep firing and hope that at some stage they get a little run on. But Mackay just looked a lot more controlled in their offensive sets, and they're at least getting the ball inside the paint a little. And
just that confidence that they could get those touches if they needed them.
Yeah.
That they could go to Washington, that they can go to Newton. Rasmussen himself, who's at least been around the block, knows identify a good shot from a bad one, so especially with an 11-point lead on the road.
Coach Anderson hasn't really got into his rotation in this quarter either. It's I think we've got Betts maybe checking in. He'll add a bit of speed and at least get the tempo on Townsville's terms.
But we haven't seen him yet.
No, and he's sitting down there ready to check in.
Oh,
so,
he is, yep.
I'm not sure who he's going to come in for. Maybe he's on the shooter here on Mines if he makes this second, which was him. He pulled out my old trick, and I always missed the free throw if I knew I was coming out. I want a chance to get another possession.
More minutes, more chances for threes.
Mackay very methodical, happy to use some clock. Williams isolated against Rees, and a great pass. Washington didn't go upstairs.
The Mackay bench is up in arms about.
I think Washington, he should have just gone up when he first got the catch.
And just hammered it home with 2.
That's right. And as often happens, Townsville will get a cheap bucket down the other end, and then this thing's back to 8. As Newton turns it over, and Mines on the break. 1-on-2, takes Williams.
Can't convert that time, so all those shots early on that in the season that have been going down for Mines, they're going to call Verl Williams for the foul there.
No, they're going to call it out of bounds. He got a fair two-handed shove from Wilshire.
Oh.
And, wow. I thought that was a clear foul. On
I thought so too.
Forced him out of bounds, but Kylie Boven, Borgie's not blowing up. He's indicating two-hand push. I
think Borgie's still complaining about the foul that he thought was on Washington from a few plays ago. So, anyhow.
Big possession
for
Townsville.
Resumes here. Here's Betsy probing inside. Well contained by Chris Cedar. Floater from distance there from Josh Wiltshire.
That's a tough shot.
It looks like he wanted to step into that one too.
And that's probably the difference. Mackay happy to pass that shot up, make the extra pass, get it back, and then go whack.
Yeah, well, and they had a better chance at an offensive rebound situation there with Rasmussen and Washington. It was a much better rhythm 3 that he took than the first one he turned down. As PC with a leaner from the left side. Cuts the lead to 6. This was in danger of getting out of hand for Mackay, and Townsville have done a good job of responding.
And it's on the back of some penetration and taking some 2-point shots rather than just settling for that 1-pass 3 as Cedar can't get the three to drop.
He's gone a little bit cold, but exactly what you had said. They needed to vary it up a bit. They couldn't just peg away from three and hope that they knocked down. And a lot more variety shown now in Townsville's game, and that maybe frees up the opportunity for a three-point shot from a guy like PC. That felt like it, that the narrative should have worked.
Another one. Wilshire fires the three. Back-to-back threes. Williams, ridiculous speed. And a finish.
Just a zigzag as we hear Paul Foster here in the background. A big Verl Williams fan. Paul Foster, who grew up, or I don't know, spent some time at Southwest Metro Pirates and has some connection with the program, I suppose. We love you, Foss. Oh, Peter Crawford. I mean, credit to PC playing a role that's very much needed, but not to his strength. We need a presence on the glass there. Chris Cedar does a great job drawing a foul from Matthew Rees.
I'm just not convinced that was a great shot from Matty Rees. He pulled the trigger on the three ball after what we've seen with the guards. I'm not sure we need our five-man stepping out and getting in on the act. I mean, he may be a little frustrated that he ain't getting a lot of touches inside, but that missed shot turns into a conversion the other way.
And a foul against him.
Yeah, and now Cedar, this is easy for him as he makes the first.
Josh Wiltshire here is checked out for the last 37 seconds of the quarter.
Matt White comes in to replace him. Cedar makes the second, and that's a 10-point lead to Townsville.
That's a good answer from Mackay, as Townsville had pegged it back to 6. PC got in the way there for the 2-on-1.
Betts probing it.
He just
turns it over. Cedar will play for one. Veteran there, waves everyone, calm down. I've got this. I've been making these plays all my life. He's going to back himself against the younger Betts, indicating he doesn't even want to knock. Oh, yes, he calls the on-ball up. Rasmussen, he gets a wide-open three. That rims out. 5 seconds for Townsville. Is Betts aware?
Similar. A similar end to the second quarter where we felt Townsville took the early shot. In this scenario, Mackay did and allowed Betsy to get all the way down the floor, and he'll be fouled. He's got 0.3 seconds on the shot on the game clock, so this should be the final possession of the quarter unless someone fouls.
Betts makes the first one, reduces the margin to 9. Mackay will be not wanting a tip in here at all, and Betts calmly pots the second. And that
feels like a bit of a band-aid. That had been a bit of a run there from Mackay, and those free throws just help settle Townsville a little bit, but momentum had clearly shifted back. So 2 minutes to regroup here for Townsville and to see what kind of adjustments they can make to hopefully wrest back an 8-point lead that Mackay's taken here on the road.
Well, in some ways, I think Townsville will be happy that it only is 8, because I think it had the potential there to blow to 15 or so. So they'll be happy that they're still in with a chance, but I think it's Mackay's game to lose. They've played with a calmness about them, and they've moved the ball around as we look at some three-quarter time stats.
Well, it's been a bit of the big three here for Mackay. Chris Cedar on 19 points from 15 shots. Derek Newton on 15 points, 6 rebounds. And the big man, Bryce Washington, he's on 21 and 9. Verl Williams off the bench, 9 handy points for Mackay. And that's, pretty much the difference at the moment. For Townsville, Mines, Wiltshire, and Anderson, I don't think Wiltshire and Anderson actually got any points that quarter. No. I'm pretty sure they were 11 at halftime, and they sit at 11 at the quarter. Ethan Betts off the bench is 9, and Peter Crawford has got 7, but he's only 1 of 7 from 3 for 14%. So those points have really been hard to come by for Townsville. I suppose this is to be expected. You can't stay hot the whole game. They started off red hot in that first quarter. Stats-wise, I'm not sure what they were, but they certainly have cooled down, and they're at 25% for the moment. So Townsville will have to hope for that percentage to come back up, but they need to set themselves up with that inside-outside game, move the ball around, find some rhythm, organize their offensive rebounding and their defense.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting to see their mentality here, because when you're down 8, the natural thing that comes to mind for them will be, we need to get quick shots, get up tempo. So does that mean that they're going to continue to fire away from 3, and that's what got them in this situation in the first place? Or is it a couple of minutes, let's get some good solid buckets, and then when we get down to 3 or 4 minutes, if we're still down, then we can go to our natural 3-point shooting mode.
Well, and their leader at the moment sits on the bench. Josh Wiltshire doesn't start here in the fourth quarter. Matthew White starts with Betts, Crawford, Rees, and Anderson. So an interesting decision here from Rod Anderson.
Yeah, and it's the same from Mackay, because young Wicks, who didn't play much or at all in that quarter, he's actually come in and started this final quarter.
Well, they call a foul there on Rees, and that's a big foul, because that'll be his 4th, I believe. Nope, they didn't call it on Rees. Oh, Peter Crawford picks up the foul there. Betts just got bullied by Newton, but they couldn't take advantage. But they do that time. He just fires over Betts. Yeah. The import just longer, taller, stronger.
Some even matchups out there, Wicks and White.
Oh, the curl. PC did a great job of setting up Rees, but he couldn't convert.
Verl decides to pull it out. Good decision. No, kicks to Wicks. He makes the extra pass to Cedar, and he can't get the 3 to drop.
And there's been a few of those potential daggers that Chris Cedar shot a few years ago in the playoffs, as Peter Crawford gets all the way to the rim, draws the foul on Washington. Chris Cedar kept that Mackay team in the game with a 50-point performance, so he's very much capable of it.
And PC is scoring in all the areas that are not his strong suit. He's actually getting to the rack, and it just shows. It puts some pressure on the defense, and Washington picks up another foul.
And good veteran move, like his comfort zone is beyond that white line, pegging away, but it hasn't been falling for him, and he recognizes his team needs someone to score in different ways, and he's adjusted his game to it. So
he gets his 3 points anyway. 7-point lead to Mackay. Wicks feeds the ball to Washington. The Rees.
Alfred Williams for 3 here. That one's no good. Mackay really seems to have reversed roles here.
I was just going to say the same thing.
It's stealing a page from Townsville's book. Let's just ping it around the perimeter and jack it up and see what happens.
They may feel they're just 1 3 ball away from blowing this thing out. And as White lets go a 3, and it's long. Rees gets a hand on it. Oh, and now Mackay trips with the numbers. 3 on 2. Cedar, slow motion.
Strong man.
Washington.
Bryce Washington wide open.
And he knocks the triple.
Oh, he gives the bow and arrow. I love it. But these restricted players get the big bucks to knock down the big shots, and Bryce Washington did it right then.
Coming off a quiet 3rd quarter for Bryce, he's scoring output slowed, but he's back on it with a big 3 ball. Pushes the margin back out to double figures. 76-66, 8:24 remaining. And still with these non-starting groups out there.
Yeah, Wiltshire continues to sit, doesn't he?
Yeah, and that's a surprise to me. I would have had it the other way around. I'd have him out there and having a run to see if they can get back in the game. If they don't, then you can play some of the other guys.
Well, he's your MVP candidate, right? Yeah. Like, he's the backbone of this Townsville team.
He's the guy that's likely going to create something for you. I mean, we've got Matty White come on. He's had 2 shots, and is that the guy you want shooting the ball when you're down 10, trying to make up a lead?
And right on cue, making us look good. Here's Josh Wiltshire looking to check in. No doubt.
I should have been a coach.
No doubt for Matthew White. So he's had a rest. He'll come in as Jamel comes up with the turnover, gives it to Betsy in transition. Oh, Matthew White, the energy, the hustle.
And that's more his range.
From 6 inches.
Like father, like son.
Glenn. I never had the pleasure of watching Glenn White play, but
Glenn, the workaholic White, that says everything about Glenn White.
Great footwork there from Jamel, who was going to step out of bounds. Just fancy feet around the baseline.
Crawford lets go a 3 with Washington's hand
big triple
right
from
in his
Peter
face.
Crawford. That gets the lead back to 5. You know, every time Mackay is threatened to bury Townsville, Townsville's managed to score a few baskets that just keep them in it.
Mackay through Wicks. He lets go a long 3 ball.
Oh, Hayden.
Rees cleans it up, and Townsville are away through White. Anderson has the smaller Wicks in the block. Offensive foul.
Great job by Wicks. Really sold the job. But he knew it was a mismatch, and he needed to do something. So put his body on the line, moved his feet, and sold it really well. It was inside the charge circle, and he went flying like he got shot by a 50 caliber. But the call is what it is. Yeah. And Townsville call a timeout of that, or did Mackay?
I think it might be Mackay.
Mackay call that timeout just to sort of...
Well, they've just lost a bit of momentum and a bit of poise here, so Coach Borg would be just telling, look, the game's on our terms. We need a good bucket. They've probably settled for the 3 ball a little too much in this quarter, which has been unlike them.
Yep, no whiteboard coming out here for Jason Borg, appealing to their rational, emotional side rather than the technical side around, this is us on the road, this is our identity. It's not about the X's and O's, it's about competing hard and understanding where we are and what position we are.
Yeah, they look like there's no chit-chat between players and that sort of thing. They look like they're all in this together, and Towns will be a good opportunity for them to say, listen, we've got ourselves back. This would have been a target for them at 10 down at 3/4 time, or 8 down. Get it back gradually, and now we've got it 5, 6, plenty of time left, 6:39. It's an
plenty
eternity.
of time, absolutely. So. And especially in the men's game, where you just get so many more possessions that, 5-point games are really nothing.
Townsville in a matchup zone. Newton gets left wide open for 3.
I'm not sure that they've buried a triple so far this quarter.
No. And here's Wilshire, fresh after having an extended stint on the bench, and he goes straight
just
at the rim. Rees.
And he comes up with it. Josh Wilshire just being persistent through the work of Matthew Rees, just tipping it to keep it alive.
Yeah, put that one down to Matty Rees. He just kept his hand in there. And
Earl Williams sold that foul, and CrossFit fell for it.
And we've got a little bit of emotion from the crowd for the first time. I'm not happy with that call. Vel outwitting the old Fox.
Yep, just a bit of a head throw back. Towns will stay in that zone.
Yeah. Let's go.
Just fell out of his hand.
I think he was trying to get on the stat sheet with a turnover. Now he goes straight at the rim. It's a tough hoop.
And that leads the break from the tip.
Only got Williams between him.
So quick.
And Wilshire.
Josh Wilshire with his first 2 offensive rebound putbacks for his career.
And Townsville are coming. They reduce the margin to 1.
It's a 1-point game.
Just like that. And all of a sudden, Mackay is stagnant.
And Townsville made it happen just through hustle and energy and just getting after it, not through the finesse. As Christina tries to draw the foul. He needs to know that was drawn 2 plays before by Earl Williams. They weren't going to reward it twice.
And Mackay are playing like it's a minute to go, and they're down 1. That was a really strange shot from Cedar.
Blitzavs, I think, is fouled out.
Yep.
So much for the non-technical side. They probably could have done with some technical feedback, tactical feedback. What are we going to do coming out of this timeout? Where do we want to get our shots from?
It doesn't hurt them that much. I think this lineup that Mackay's got out there now is probably their best lineup.
Yeah, that's right.
I think
Washington and Newton have shown they have the capability of playing that 3-4 spot. Rasmussen can play the 5.
Wilshire wide open for a 3. He can't get it to go. Washington just pushes Crawford out of the way and says, that's mine.
Swatted him like a mosquito.
Cedar looks like he's just wants to get this over in a hurry, and he's thrown up 2 tough shots in the last 2 plays.
Cross-court pass. Here's Wilshire. Left hand. Oh, and Verl Williams wanted to have some words, but decided against it.
Washington's been hit in the eye, or he's down on his haunches there. Nothing too serious. No blood.
And this will give Townsville a chance here to tie it or take the lead.
Still... So we're going to have Wilshire go to the line for 2 to give
Motion
Townsville
coming
the lead.
out here from Jason Borg towards referee near the sideline as Wilshire ties the game, 76 apiece. Townsville takes the lead.
Still a long, long way to go in this one. Washington at the high post, back out to Williams. He penetrates baseline.
His change of pace is good.
Oh, intercept from Jamel. Is he going to go upstairs?
He goes upstairs with a rush. Jamel from the steal, from the kick-out pass from Verl Williams. And all of a sudden, this game is turned on its head. Townsville now lead by 3. Oh, as Chris Cedar turns it over. No feedback from the sidelines. Well, it's not really up to Jason Borg to make that pass.
That's exactly right. Momentum has certainly shifted in this one.
He wants to take a timeout
now. That's
a lot of time left here, but the game is sort of slipping away. It really hasn't gone at all Mackay's way this whole 4th quarter. So what's the point of saving a timeout if it gets out of hand?
Yeah.
Some people might think that's a bit early, but he still has 1 left. He's only down by 3. He can make any decision, any adjustments that he wants here to this timeout. No substitutions forthcoming for them. I wouldn't imagine Townsville would want to change anything. This lineup has been producing for them. That energy from Betts has really upped their transition game. Jamel has come back on much better, and Josh Wilshire is playing inside that 3-point line and, really helping his big man out.
Yeah, his substitution has just definitely changed the course of this one. They were treading water there early on, and now they've got all the momentum, and it's going to take something. They've got the crowd involved too, which is going to help down this final 4 minutes.
Yep.
Mackay done a good job of keeping them in neutral. But just a couple of poor shot selections from Chris Cedar, which is unlike him. He's forced the issue. Verl with a poor pass, and it just can get away from you pretty quickly. So,
well, it felt like Chris just wanted to bury Townsville with each shot, and his mentality was still the same, regardless of the scores. Peter Crawford buries a deep triple.
And it's all of a sudden a 6-point margin. And Cedar,
favor. Sure, he thought about taking that one.
Newton gets a good look in the corner, a bit short, but Rasmussen.
Oh, Rasmussen. And Betsy just fell asleep a little bit there. We needed to put bodies to their big men, and I think Matty had him covered on the other side, but Rasmussen, that veteran, on their double teaming Wilch, they find Rees inside. Kick out to PC.
Has he got a feeling? No. Oh. But Rees cleans up.
But they're playing that inside-outside game.
Wilshire lets it go. That looks good. It's long. Cedar grabs a big board. Mackay want to take the air out of it here and just get a good look.
Let's see how they respond.
Oh, turnover, no.
No.
Off hands.
Oh, no, wow.
From Rees.
Oh.
Wilshire pushing the ball.
Chris Cedar threw his leg out like he wanted to trip Wilch there.
Anderson.
Oh, behind the back. Peter Crawford, corner 3, no good.
Washington's still big on the boards.
But playing above his weight category there, that is a a legitimate heavyweight, and Bryce Washington inside, and Matthew Rees is a veteran.
Just not going Cedar's way at the moment. Made a good move.
Left wide open. They give it to Jamel in the corner. That's how it's good! Jamel Anderson with a corner three! Verl Williams kick out. Chris Cedar answers. Just ice water in those veins. Mr. 50 points. Oh, Betsy off the bounce. They're going to say hand on the hip?
Yep. It was almost like he wanted him to go past because he wanted to block him.
Oh, and it was a big block, and that's two big blocks from that were called as fouls. Bryce Washington had one previously, got poked in the eye, defensive foul, and that time Newton with the block, but the hand check first. Jason Borg asking for an explanation around the consistency of the calls on both ends of the floor. Betsy with a big answer. He buries the first free throw.
That's a break.
Completely off on the second. Townsville up by 5, though. 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I mean, much like the women's game, anyone's game at this point. Bryce Washington inside. Great first step. Rips it through, gets to the rack, shoots it over Matthew Rees.
3-point ball game.
Oh, and Williams just trying to be a pest here.
And he does shake it loose, but it falls into the lap of Betts.
Oh,
he turns the corner. Oh, Rees not even looking at the hoop.
Oh, they give it to Jamel.
Oh, Anderson.
PC,
in the
2
corner.
seconds.
That's ridiculous. It was too good to be true.
Just too many hands to ball.
Williams
from,
spins and nice delayed pass. Washington.
Oh, Euro to the rim.
And Verl Williams just hangs there for an eternity. He has
it's
nothing.
like he pressed the pause button. Mackay back to one, within one here.
Rasmussen working overtime on Anderson, denying the ball. PC
catches it out at the logo.
I thought for a minute he was going to unload.
Let it fly.
Anderson. Rasmussen, good
well
thing.
Contested. Nothing but net. Jamel Anderson.
He needs to be drug tested. That's not the same guy that was shooting 30%.
Williams wants to have a chat.
And we have a cliffhanger. 1 point Townsville lead.
PC
and Washington.
gets hammered.
That's nearly
and it's an intentional foul. They're going to call an intentional foul. 2 referees signaled it. Is that any different than Abby Bishop's hard foul in the women's game, preventing someone get?
It was a hard foul, but he was playing the ball. He wasn't. He didn't grab him with 2 hands.
I think so.
It was a slap across the arm, and I think.
Who's going to shoot it? Oh, PC. I thought they were signaling to Betsy to come shoot it. Well, if you're Townsville, that's who you want shooting the ball in this scenario.
Yeah. I just think it's, I think it's a tough call.
Yeah, Crawford buries the first. He'll get a second shot here. Townsville will get possession coming out, regardless of the make or miss here. And he buries the second, so Townsville now with a 3-point lead. They also get possession. 45 seconds left in the game.
Mackay needing a big defensive play here. Anderson's hot, so Rasmussen got the job on him. Newton on Betts. Verl chasing Wilshire.
Oh, they give it to PC.
And he buries it.
Crawford!
6-point lead.
Triple.
Williams.
Oh, Williams. What an
my.
That was a travel,
And he gets the bucket to go and the foul. There was nothing in that.
I'm glad they didn't call the travel, but that's a travel, given what happened down the other end. But what an explosive move from Verl Williams.
Is there a guy that covers the floor as quick as he does? I mean, from end to end.
If you need a quick basket,
you can't get it any quicker than that, unless you throw it from the back court.
Was it 3 seconds? Less than 3 seconds?
It was less than 3 seconds.
And that was all on the bounce, too.
Yep.
So it wasn't like it was thrown ahead.
Bounce, a hop.
Jamel here, I think, is fouled out. We missed that while it was happening. So John O'Mines checks in.
Rasmussen really with the big tip.
Calling for the bump. They're going to need to foul here.
Yeah, they've got to foul. They've got to get up. What are they doing? And Cedar gets the message from the bench. And he gives away a foul.
Jason Borg just having words with Josh Wiltshire, who I'm not sure heard him. It's the most animated I've seen Jason Borg.
Yeah. A close game will do that to you. Wilshire.
First one's
solid.
good.
Tough ass now from Mackay.
They got to come back from 5. They got a timeout left here. Borgie hasn't signaled to the bench whether he wants it or not.
He's going to take it now, yep. So they'll get to advance. They're going to have to get one up in the first.
And then foul. And then they play for the steal, and if it gets over halfway, then play for the foul. But the lineup can't really change for them. It's just been such a big swing of momentum here. But Townsville can't get too complacent. Bryce Washington is a unit and a gun. Verl Williams is lightning quick.
And Rasmussen, as we saw on that last free throw, I mean, he's going to make a play. Like, he's going to be active if they do miss and don't box out. He's going to be there to put it back.
He's had a few good, big offensive rebounds, and he made them aware on that previous free throw situation. So I would assume the referees would be acutely aware of any push in the back scenarios, and that could be rewarded to go Mackay's way. I didn't see anything drawn up there by Coach Jason Borg, so he's going to rely on his players on the floor to sort of make it happen.
I suspect the ball's either going to get to Cedar or Verl, because they're going to make something happen off the dribble. Newton will spot up.
Or do they just throw it inside to Washington to just bully his way and see if he can't get an N1 here?
I think they'll be happy to shoot a 3 here. I think they'll be trying to get a 3 ball. They want to make it 2 possessions, not 3.
So Newton will get him started. They throw it to Washington.
Toff coming off here for the 3. They get him a good look. He gets an uncontested look, can't make it. Washington keeps it alive. Oh, we got a foul called over the back here, I believe.
Oh, they're going to call it on Peter Crawford.
Yep. They're going to, no, Matty Rees, 14, a hold on
right?
Washington. So he's going to go to the line. And that gets him 2 points. Well, if he can make him.
I'm not sure what Jason Borg's complaining about here. The foul went his way.
Yep.
You can't complain about the shot not going down. Oh, Peter Crawford has some words to Bryce Washington. And everyone's got an opinion now all of a sudden. We may have found his kryptonite.
Yep.
Bryce Washington, who's just been absolutely brilliant all game, misses the front end of a 2 free throw situation. Buries the second though.
It's got to be a foul or a steal. You need to steal.
They got to play 8 seconds here first. They give it to Mines, to Wiltshire. Oh, now they're in trouble.
Keegan. That's a wonder PC didn't shoot that. Keegan and Townsville are going to get away with this.
Wow.
96-91. Williams. Wiltshire still gets one up and banks it in. And it counts.
Jason Borg disillusioned with that.
We now have 99-91 winners.
What
Townsville.
a finish.
Wilshire with the bank 3. 99% of guys hold that ball up, but not our Josh Wilshire.
Well, I guess when we talked about there's a little bit of emotion when Townsville faces against Mackay, and a win, an 8-point win is better than a 5-point win, especially when you know you've got to head down to Mackay next.
That's right. It's a great confidence booster. They'll go down there next week full of confidence because, to be honest, they looked shot at stages during that game. They were down double digits, and that's a hell of a win to come back.
And all the momentum seemed to be Mackay's way. They're making good decisions. They had the size inside that they could play through. They had the ability to shoot the 3, and then a few possessions didn't go their way, and they insisted on playing the same way. And then it was some grit and determination from that Townsville side. Ethan Betts, who did a great job. Josh Wiltshire, who got on the offensive glass. Peter Crawford, who decided to penetrate inside and just seemed to shift it and congratulations to the Townsville boys who come away with a big win against one of the championship contenders in the Mackay Meteors.
Yeah, it was a high-quality game. I mean, it was high scoring. Both halves were pretty even. And, yeah, look, Mackay will be disappointed, but, you know, they get to get on their home floor next weekend, so that'll be a big game. See if Townsville can repeat that effort. And yeah, I mean, Jamal Anderson, a couple of big threes late in that game too. And
what a game he's shown, and what a change in his game he's shown.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I can ask then is of the Mackay basketball program is to reciprocate the favor. You and I will be in Townsville. We won't be able to travel down to Mackay. The only thing we'd ask is that you provide us with a live stream, some commentary, and that hopefully it's as entertaining of games that we saw in the women's games as we did in the men's games. So from Mike St. Maurice and Carl Ward from Townsville Basketball, that is us signing off, and we'll be back in a few weeks when Townsville returns to Townsville Basketball. Thanks for tuning in.